In this video, we are going to look at how you would install SQL Server Developer Edition. The first step is to find it. Easiest thing to do is to go on a search engine, type in SQL Server Developer Edition, and then hit enter. That should take you to the spot where you can download it. And you should be able to see it. You may have to scroll down a little bit, about the middle of the page. Maybe the Developer Edition is the one we typically want in one of my classes. So if that's the case, I would have told you that. You can use Express Edition in some of my classes, but unless I specifically tell you that, the Developer Edition is the one you want. I'd click the download button and download it onto my hard drive. It's a small download. You can already see I've downloaded previously. It's only 6 megabytes. Now, once it's downloaded, you need to start it up. I recommend you right-click on it and choose Run as an Administrator. This will give it advanced rights permissions. The easiest installation option is just to choose Basic. I ask you to read the licensing terms and accept it and move forward. This is probably the most important thing to be concerned about, is where you want it installed. If you have a computer with multiple hard drives, you can choose something other than your C drive. If you only have one hard drive, on like your laptop or whatever, you probably want to just leave it as it is because that's your only option. I myself have multiple hard drives, and the C drive is fast but small. So I'm going to put it onto a different location and hit install and let it do the rest. So this will take a few minutes as it downloads and then starts to install. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it now, and I'll come back when it's done. The first part that's done is the download. It only took a few seconds really because I have very good bandwidth here, but it can take a while for it to download the starter files. The installation will continue much longer, and once again I'll pause it and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, at this point it is complete. So that's a good thing. The SQL Server has been installed. There's some information about where it was installed. Pretty much it. Now, in order for you to connect to it, you're going to have to install some other software. So this button here where it says Connect Now allows me to use something called SQL Command, SQL CMD. It is a console application, and we can do some stuff with it, but to tell you the truth, it's not what we're going to use. Instead, we're going to download and install SQL Server Management Studio or something called Azure Data Studio. Azure Data Studio is the one that Microsoft is really pushing right now. It's the name Azure makes you think that there's something to do with the cloud, but it's not really so much. It's more marketing than anything else. It does allow you to connect to your database engine and write SQL code. And we'll definitely take a look at that later. The installation is pretty easy. You just click on the user installer. Once that downloads, you would just quite simply, let's see here, right there. Right click and choose Run as Administrator. Let's see, would you like to run it? Let's see, if we're all, say okay. Read my licensing agreement. Choose the location. And that's pretty much it. Let's see here. Registered Azure Data Studio as an editor for supported types. That's kind of handy if you want to right-click on your SQL files and choose to open it in Azure Data Studio. So I'm going to go ahead and check that up. And I also want to make sure I check the paths. So that's pretty much it. Let the install begin. Now this is a very lightweight program, and it's, again, the one that Microsoft is really pushing. So this is the one they're updating on a pretty regular basis. It has some great features. It has some bad features like most other software. But one of the best features is that it's really quick and easy to install, and it's a great way to make sure that your SQL installation is up and running. So at this point, once it opens, thank you, we just need to make a connection. The way you make the connection is you look for this little server icon here at the top where it says connections. When you hover over it, click on the add connection option and try to connect to your SQL Server. Now, if you just finished installation, your SQL Server should be connectable by the name of your computer. But if you don't remember the name of your computer, because often your computer has a weird name, you can use the word localhost to make that connection that way. If we're connecting to our own individual computer, we can use Windows authentication. If we're connecting to one of my other servers that I've set up on the internet, you'll have to put that name in here and switch it over to SQL login. If again, this is for my local installation, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to that and just hit connect. It should try to make that connection, and if it's successful, you should see something like this. There's one other thing that is important. You want to be able to make a new database. So what I want to do is I want to click on the server. I want to right click and choose new query and create a new database called test. Create database test. Semicolons are optional, but they're recommended. You highlight the code you want to run and click on the run button. If it's successful, you're good to go. If not, it's probably because the permissions weren't set accordingly, and you'll have to talk to me about troubleshooting it. But if this is successful, if you can connect to it and make a database, you're good to go, and you're ready for my courses on SQL Server. So hopefully you found this useful in getting things set up, and hopefully you didn't have much of a problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.